Welcome to the Same Side Selling Podcast. I'm your host, Ian Altman. This is episode 300 in the Same Side Selling Podcast. And as part of this show, what I want to do is I want to focus on some of our greatest success stories. And I don't mean our greatest success stories as mine, but the success stories that have stood out the most to me. And to give you insight into what people did that helped them to be that successful. And it's interesting because we have all these stories of big companies that use the Same Side Selling Academy and use the Same Side Selling methodology. And it's great when you see a company that's doing $20 billion grow to $25 billion. But the ones I want to focus on today are the ones where these are maybe small to medium-sized businesses and what they've done that actually has helped them stand out and lessons you can learn from them. So we'll just kind of step through these. There's some that really, to me, are just kind of embody what you really want to be doing in an organization and things you can do to stand out from the competition. So first is someone who's in the wealth management space, Melissa. And Melissa knows who she is, and the people in the Same Side Selling Academy know Melissa. And the beauty here is that Melissa had invested in other programs in the past that just didn't work for her. So she spent money, got nothing for it. She was a little bit hesitant about joining the Same Side Selling Academy, which I didn't blame her. And I said, look, come in and join it. If you don't love it, we'll refund it. Now she loves what she does. And she says that she quickly knows which clients she can help the most and which ones aren't a fit. And while her business has grown, she's actually having to spend less time in the business because she's wasting less time on bad opportunities. So when I talk to her, she's just glowing and it's like things are firing on all cylinders. And it's great to see somebody who was burned in the past, great results. The next one I want to talk about is Kyle. Kyle runs a manufacturing company, kind of like a machining and manufacturing business in the Midwest. And the cool part is that in this last year, Kyle's business has grown. Actually, not even this year, but just even through the first half of this year is on pace to grow over 60%. Kyle's been in the Same Side Selling Academy for about 6 months. And what he says is, well, the Academy gave me tools to land what is growing into our largest account with a shorter sales cycle than we've ever had in the past, which is really cool. But here's the coolest part to me is that he did all this while moving to a new location. And what this meant is that in his type of industry, he had to acquire all new customers. He had to acquire and hire new employees. And I wonder how much he would have grown if he hadn't moved in the middle of this process. So he grew 60% in an environment where other people are maybe shrinking and not growing that well, which is a pretty cool thing to see. Now, another one of my favorites is Cynthia. And right about now, Cynthia is smiling. And if you've ever seen Cynthia, when she smiles, she just fills the screen. And she's just, my mother used to say, everybody brightens a room. Some when they enter it, some when they leave. Cynthia is one of those people who brightens a room when she enters it. And Cynthia has been all in from the start on Same Side Selling. And what I love to see is that she will often share a scenario and we'll role play it during our monthly Same Side Selling group coaching session. Those of you in the academy know we call that the Coach's Corner. And she'll role play a situation and you can count on it that the following month, Cynthia is going to share, oh yeah, that thing we role played last month, I just landed this new account. It's $25,000, it's $50,000, something like that. So not only does she ask for help, but she applies those things for results. And so it's that discipline of actually asking, listening, internalizing, then executing that really is magical. For those of you who are regulars to the Same Side Selling podcast, a recent episode was Rob Lynch at Dome Construction. Dome Construction is an organization that Rob talks about as being between $100 and $120 million for 3 years in a row. They kind of felt like they had plateaued. And then on a recent podcast, and I forget, it's somewhere in the 290s. I forget which episode it was, but Rob had actually shared that they grew to about $600 million in this past year. And they continue to grow. And once again, it's about just connecting with the right clients who are the right fit, having a process and a system they can follow. There's an IT services company. I don't want to say who it is, but they have an optimal strategy for how they go about pursuing their business. And they've turned their engineering folks into their top producers. And what that means is that recently they shared they just landed their largest account ever. And we asked how they did it. They said, well, we just followed the process that we talk about every month in the Same Side Selling Academy. And we just stepped through with this client, and the client basically sold us instead of us selling them, which is really what this whole methodology is about. The bottom line in all these different examples that I want you to understand is that it's not about same-side selling, as much as I would like to say it is. The common thread, sure, these are all people who are all in on same-side selling, but most importantly, these are all people who are individuals committed to following a process. They're committed to continual learning. They're committed to challenging themselves to constantly improve. And that's what I see in top producers. I'd like to say that it's all attributed to the Same Side Selling Academy and the Same Side Selling. It's not. Because I can tell you that you can learn everything that we teach and not apply it, and you're not going to see tremendous results. And if you don't reinforce it, if you don't say, okay, I'm going to practice so that when I get in a challenging situation, I know exactly what to do, you're not going to see amazing results. But if you do take that time to practice, if you use tools like we have Same Side Improv where people can role play and practice, if you put yourself in uncomfortable situations with your peers so that you get better and improve your skills, that's what moves the needle. And so after 300 episodes, the most satisfying thing for me is seeing all these people who are committed to excellence, people who are not content just staying with the status quo, but it's people who say, I want to bring my game to the next level. And they show up every month and they role play scenarios and they bring situations and they ask questions and they improve. And that's something that you can do too. So on our 300th episode, I just want to tip my cap, if I was wearing one, tip my cap to all those people in our academy who just show up every month, show up every week, show up every day to improve themselves, to follow a process that's all integrity-based, and people who have proven that if you follow a consistent process and you put honesty in the customer's results ahead of the sale, that you actually can achieve amazing success and discover an approach to selling that everyone can embrace, especially your customers. So it's an honor and a privilege to serve you, and I look forward to continuing to do that for, I don't know if I can do another 300 episodes, but we'll start with that, and we'll see where it goes. See you next week on the Same Side Selling Podcast.